Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hello, you beautiful, beautiful people. Thank you once again for joining me for Talk is Cheap on the podcasting channel and also for Quick Shot Reviews on the YouTube channel. This is a 3-in-1 review because I feel like this is something that needs to happen with the film that is in question, because I've watched all 3 movies and I'm pretty much guessing that you can guess which movies they are. They are the Creed series up to Creed 3. I've been to see Creed 3 this week, and feel like this needs to be a series review up to this point, because it lends itself to that. It's got a nice continuous story, and it's very similar across the board to the Rocky series. So it's good. Michael B. Jordan is proven himself to be a very, very good actor and director, and definitely worthy of picking up the Creed name. As ever, if you do enjoy the podcast, please do share and make sure you do the YouTubey stuff on the YouTube channel. As ever, you are the Cheap Shot Nation. I'm your host, Luke, and we'll get into the main part of the video where we'll review all 3 Creed movies in chronological order. Join me there. So we're starting off as with Creed, the original Creed, directed by Ryan Coogler. Obviously, it is picked up by Michael B. Jordan later on. And the former world heavyweight champion of the world, Rocky Balboa, sees a champion. He becomes the trainee and mentor of Adonis Johnson, who happens to be Apollo Creed's son. Obviously, the Creed legacy is there in Rocky 1 to 4, and of course, Adonis, turns out he wasn't born before his father died in Rocky 4 at the hands of Ivan Drago, and this is what makes the Creed movies so enjoyable for me, because I've obviously seen all of the Rocky films, including Rocky Balboa. The less said about that, the better. Obviously, Rocky has retired, and he doesn't want any part of the boxing world anymore, really. But he sees something in this kid that, Creed, Adonis goes to Rocky and says, "Train me. I need to do this." And the world champion is untouchable at the time. There's a bit of backstory within Creed as well, in terms of what's happening and how he does come to be with his mother, his birth mother, played by Felicia Rashad as Mary Ann Creed. She was in the Rocky movies as well. Obviously, you've got Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed. You've got Rocky Balboa, played by Sylvester Stallone. And a good game to play in the Creed movies, much like it is with any Sylvester Stallone movie, is guess what he said in that line. He's not actually that bad, to be fair. Tessa Thompson plays Bianca, who is also a musician. There's a good story behind her going through the Creed series as well, which is nice. It's not just all centered on Adonis and his rise to stardom, but there's a lot of other stuff within this as well. Got Tony Bellew playing Pretty Ricky, who is the guy who will go against the current world heavyweight champion as of doing this review, and it's got a lot of other people in it as well. I mean, it's a very small cast as far as it goes. What really got me about this is the setting of the final fight being in Liverpool at Goodison Park, which is absolutely amazing. Obviously, it's just computer shots and then everything superimposed, because there are some very glaring errors when it comes to these things, like 2-pin plugs and stuff like that. But that doesn't take away from the overall story. He is an absolute superstar, is Michael B. Jordan, and he's milking the franchise for all it's worth. It's brilliant. And to say I only saw this for the first time at the beginning of this week, before I was going to see Creed 3, I was really, really surprised by how good this film was. The fight scenes are brilliant. They don't just reduce it to just one fight either. There's a couple in between to build the tension, to build how dangerous Pretty Ricky is. And it's got grit, it's got the training montages, it's got Rocky Balboa in it, and Adonis Creed. So yeah, it's kind of the full package, and it's filmmaking at its best, and it's really good. And I'd definitely say, if you haven't seen this, definitely watch Creed 1 as it is, because if you're planning on going to see Creed 3, you do need a little bit of background. So I watched Creed, and then I went to go and see Creed 3, and then went back to Creed 2. In hindsight, I didn't know what the basics were in terms of Creed 2. I was also told by my cinema-going buddy, you may have heard him on the channel before, Josh, say that Creed 2 is rubbish. But we'll get on to Creed 2 and why I think he's absolutely wrong. The music, the setting, yes, there's some glaring errors, but the fight scenes are brilliant, and they only get better with the series. They do get better with the series, and it's just a complete film. Like I say, you want to be there. It does everything the Rocky movies did. You got the underdog story, comes back, wins. I'm spoiling everything now, but you know how Rocky goes. There's no real spoilers here, but it's very, very enjoyable. I mean, like I said, I didn't see Creed at the cinema. I only watched it a couple of days ago, but I knew what the basic plot was going to be, because that's the Rocky series. So, yeah, definitely a good one to watch is Creed. And then we go on to Creed 2, where we get a return of an old face in the form of Ivan Drago and his son. This one I actually think is better than the first one. I've got to say, it is brilliant. It doesn't get the better reviews, but I actually really enjoyed this one much more than Creed, because it's got those links. There's big links back. He's got Ivan Drago training his son. You've got Rocky training Creed's son. You've got Victor Drago is the fighter in this one. Ivan Drago's son. The one thing I didn't particularly like about this is the motivation for Ivan Drago, because it was pretty obvious. There's no obviously there's got to be a villain. There's got to be a hero, and that's how Creed works. A lot like with the Rocky films. That's how it works. Excuse me. Coming off the back of a cough, chest infection. So I do apologise. There's got to be that element. There's got to be that element of peril in these films. But I thought the overall story was actually a little bit better in this one. You've got Ivan going to meet Rocky in his hometown of Philadelphia. He goes up the steps and you see all these people doing the thing from the Rocky movie, which is if I ever went to Philadelphia, that's exactly what I would do. I'd pass out halfway up the steps, but I'd get back up and I'd carry on and I'd do the Rocky thing that he does when he's doing his training montage. So, it's, this is what it is. There's a lot of references to the original Rocky movies, obviously with Rocky being in it. One thing I didn't mention actually, a storyline within the Creed movie was that Rocky was dealing with cancer. Now, I may have missed this, but I didn't really hear anything about what happened with that. Was mentioned that he might have been in remission. So, I mean, if that's cool, that's cool. Maybe, like I say, I missed it towards the end. But, yeah, Rocky appears in this one. He doesn't want anything to do with a fight for any reason whatsoever. So Adonis does go, after being baited, he does fight Victor Drago. There is multiple references then to Victor doing what he does, being a power puncher like his dad, and almost taking out our hero, leading to a big crescendo, a good training montage again. You've got to love a good training montage, haven't you? You got the music that gets you going and all that kind of stuff. Good training montage, and it's really, really good. And this one's directed by Stephen Caple Jr. So, like I say, more of the same. Goes to this training facility out in the desert. He's punching tyres, a bit like Rocky did with punching the meat and all that kind of stuff. You've still got the same people playing Bianca, Tessa Thompson. There's a storyline there where they have a child, and the child's born deaf. And Felicia Rashad plays Marianne Creed again, plays the dad. It's cool, man. It's just a really good film. And you've also got a few other people. You've got Bridget Nielsen playing Ludmilla Drago, who I believe played the same character in Rocky 4. So, yeah, it's just really cool. It's good to think that they are continuing all of these things, and very good. Good story arc, and a very, very strong addition to the Creed franchise and the Rocky franchise overall, of course. And going on to Creed 3. This one is in cinemas now as we speak, and again, it follows the same sort of story. We've got a bit more background on Creed in this one. He's not just a broken kid who's been picked up by his real mom, taken out of a home and given a home and given an outlet. We've got a bit more story as to why he was in that home, why he was like he was, and bearing in mind the story happens over 20 years. We think, and it's in LA. We think about the LA riots back in '92. So yeah, he was caught up in all that sort of gang violence kind of culture, and that's an interesting plot because he's now winning at life. He's a world champion. He's retired. On top, the first fight is him, doing his thing and then retiring. And he's now a former boxer. He's looking for the next opponent. He's looking for the next Creed. Basically, he's looking for the next big thing, and that's not Brock Lesnar. So he's got someone, and there's Prodigy, and he's working him out. He's currently champion. Then he gets then his friend from childhood, Dame, comes into the picture. Classic, classic sort of relationship between these two. They got in a lot of trouble together. They did a lot of stuff together. But one got caught, one didn't, and one went away for a long time. So he's come out. He wants his life that Adonis has been living, because that should have been his. He was the boxer. Adonis was carrying his bags. Again, that sort of bitter thing where you've got what I should have, that kind of thing. But getting Michael B. Jordan, Tessa Thompson, and Jonathan Majors this time playing Dame Anderson, which is absolutely brilliant. Rashad playing Marianne Creed, and get to be introduced to an older version of Amara. Mila Davis Kent plays Amara, and it's done in a way that introduces the idea of a child going through being the child of a world champion boxer, and also trying to get through life as a deaf child as well. So that was introduced really well. And there's been a lot of films that have worked on that. Silent Place is A Quiet Place rather. Not Silent House is a different film. Quiet Place is really good and has the same sort of thing. But obviously this is a sports film, and that's more of a horror movie. It follows the same sort of pattern again, but I really liked it. Again, my cinema going buddy Josh said that he didn't like it because of the fight scenes. I really liked the fight scenes. I thought they were brilliant. He said they looked like they should have been on Fight Night. But that is, that's part of it. We're in 2023. You've got to update how things happen. It's just that it's done in a quicker version of slow-mo, so it slows down more than it would have done in the previous two films. Again, it peaked at Creed 2. I really liked Creed 2. But having not seen Creed 2, Creed 3 came in for me and delivered on what it needed to deliver on. And I really enjoyed this. And as a whole, Creed 1, 2 and 3, absolutely brilliant. Keenan Coogler wrote the screenplay for this one, didn't direct. Michael B. Jordan takes over the directing duties on this one, and he's proving himself to be very capable. The only thing I would say about this one is that the end fight probably needed to be a little bit longer. They tried to pack too much storyline in, and probably could have done with having, because we all know how Rocky goes. The end fight goes 12 rounds, and there's usually a knockdown. This one follows the same suit, but it doesn't give the last fight time for people to get behind Adonis. And they're probably already behind Adonis anyway, but doesn't give them that chance to connect with the champ. Well, he becomes, he's former champ. And like I say, Dame is quite open about what he wants, and he wants to be the champ. So, yeah, I mean, it's predictable, but it's good. It's good, very, very good, and I'd suggest you give your time and your effort and your money to the cinema. Go and watch this one on the big screen and enjoy it as it should be enjoyed, because that is how films should be viewed. Not on, yes, you can get a 50 plus inch TV and 4K and all that kind of stuff, but no, for me, I mean, it's 6K now, isn't it? For me, cinema is is the one. That's where you should go and watch the films. It's expensive now, but plenty of cinemas do, deals with yearly cards and stuff like that. And it's time to support the cinemas, because with recent news that Cineworld is possibly going into administration again, it means that there's a lot of people that are going to be out of work at a very bad time. So, yeah, time to support the cinemas. Well, that is the overall view of Creed, the series, up to this point. Obviously, it's set up for a number 4. I will be going to watch that because I've thoroughly enjoyed all 3 films. Thoroughly enjoyed them. And if you have seen the Creed series and want to give us your thoughts, start the conversation, please do on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And or you can comment below the video, or I believe you can comment on the podcast as well. But yeah, our bread and butter is film, and we love it when you guys get involved as well. So that's it from me, signing off for Quick Shot Reviews, the dedicated movie channel of Cheap Shot Entertainment. I'm your host, Luke. You are the Cheap Shot Nation. Keep enjoying those films.